I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
We are the Super Media Bros podcast, and we are founding members of the OddPods Media Network.
Welcome everybody to the OddPods podcast. I am...
Whoa, dude. No. This is our promo, not the show. I'm Rico.
Oh, sorry. I'm CJ, and we're the hosts of the OddPods podcast.
We're fans of pretty much anything and everything pop culture, including movies, TV shows, books, video games, comics, music, and of course, Kevin Smith. Now, while we do keep our fingers on the pulse of Silent Bob, he certainly doesn't need our help in promoting him.
You got that right. We do our own thing, with inspiration from the man himself and his mantra of why not. We've got stories about celebrities, we've interviewed theories of our own for certain movies, and we can usually tend to have a great debate about anything.
We also do commentaries on movies. Sometimes we ask our fans what they want to watch with us. So if you love the timbre of our vocal cords and want to watch a movie at the same time, give us a listen.
Stay tuned every Monday, there's always something new. And if you've been good this year, we may even give you a bonus episode from time to time.
So please be good and subscribe to and enjoy PodScube, founding member of the OddPods Media Network.
Let us handle this, bitch.
Sharp tongues and bad lungs.
Kia, he has asthma.
All that and more. Sorry.
Are you ready for the rave of the Cornfield?
Hot and ready.
Is this a nightmare or is it just Antarctica?
Either way, it's bad. I'm skinny. I don't like cold stuff.
I like cold stuff, but I don't want to go that cold.
Yeah.
There might be things running around.
Or if you're in a nightmare and it's hot as hell, strip down.
Welcome to episode 196 of the Super Media Bros podcast, Spooky Media Bros 2021. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
Cult Cinema Showdown 85. This week it's a tag team to end the month. Freddy versus Jason versus Alien versus Predator.
It's like, who's versus who? I'm lost. It's a big battle royale.
It is a big battle royale, but we know what you're thinking. Why these two movies?
Because why not?
Exactly. Like, you've got two horror titans against two sci-fi horror titans.
And we do watch, stupid movies and not so good movies. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say both these movies are terrible. They're not both good.
Not in their collective series, no.
They're just there. I guess we can get into Freddy versus Jason. Weirdly, it's both Nightmare 8 and also Friday the 13th Part 11.
I mean, there's really not much of a premise besides Freddy tries to conjure Jason to come back from the dead to bring fear back onto Elm Street.
Chronologically, it's set after Freddy's dead and Jason goes to hell, but the premise for this is it opens on Freddy as a human in flashbacks, but he's talking about how his reign as the Springwood slasher and all this other bullshit where it came to an end with the parents hunting him down, basically origin story for those people that I guess just didn't know, or it's just, hey, here's a refresher, like you said earlier. So the idea is that Freddy has conjured Jason from hell to do his bidding because the town of Springwood has forgotten completely.
And Freddy is all about bringing himself back with fear.
Meanwhile, everybody that ever remembered was just, hey, we're going to drug you up with Hypnostil and throw you in Weston Hills and, yeah, fuck you.
Never been seen again.
No shit.
Until this film. But you get the typical, teenagers being stupid. I mean, there's really not any meat to this part of the film.
No, I mean, the real story is Lori and Will, which, again, I know people that are looking for deep dives on this and the other film we're going to be talking about are probably going to be super disappointed because I don't really care to deep dive either one of these motherfuckers. Because like you said, especially in Freddy vs. Jason, people are there to see literally that. The characters were very forgettable. The shit that they said and did just didn't matter. There's a few sequences where it's like, okay, that's kind of funny. But we're here for Robert Englund. Let's be honest. We're here for Robert Englund in the fucking Freddy makeup. The one piece that I will say is that when Ken Kersinger was cast as Jason, I know a lot of people in the community at the time were in an uproar because people got really used to Kane Hodder as Jason, and Kane Hodder really wanted to play the role, but Ronnie Yu, the director, wanted somebody with I guess, storytelling eyes and sympathy, because that's kind of how he was labeled in this, as like a sympathetic character. And also he was a little leaner and taller, and he wanted that size difference between the two of them to show and everything like that. So I get it, but
I mean, it's all said and done.
yeah. So the movie opens with a murder at 1428 Elm Street, which a fucking awesome kill, by the way. This bastard deserved this kill, where he gets fucking folded in the bed.
I don't remember the guy's name. I don't remember the girl's name that was like the drug head. Or not the drug head, but she was like a pot smoking drunk, basically.
It was the chick from Ginger Snaps.
Yeah. Her and him did the thing. She went take a shower, and he's a fucking cocksucker. Like, he is a huge ass motherfucking prick. And Jason literally stabbed his ass in the chest or in the back of his back like several times, to the point where you can see the chunks go through the mattress. And then he just pretty much futon folded his ass in his bed.
Yeah, he's like, I'm hungry. I want tacos.
I'm making a panini.
I've been hungry after being dead for this long. I need some Taco Tuesday in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he gets his Taco Tuesday after that dude got his Taco Tuesday, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Catherine Isabel's character, Gibb, runs out of the house in a towel, which I think it's comedy at its best to me. Like, she sees the blood, flips the fuck out, and it's Kelly Rowland as Kia, which, God, Jesus fuck, that character is just ridiculous. But like, they all run out of the house, and then you got Deputy Stubbs, which I can never unsee this guy from Scary Movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, is there some kind of a problem? What the fuck do you think?
Yeah, he's sitting in the cop car and her hands are all fucking bloody. What do you think?
Right. But the premise is basically the entire town, like we said earlier, has forgotten. And the sheriffs are reminding Stubbs, like, don't mention this motherfucker's name, because they're like, oh God, it's the same house. There's a murder and blah, blah, blah. Has he come back? And they're just like, shut the fuck up. Because if they say the name, then it starts to spread like a fucking disease.
Yeah, because Stubbs he's from out of town. He doesn't know anything about this. And he's trying to be like, well, is it him? And they're like, shh, no.
It's just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up, Stubbs. The other part of the story is that Lori's ex, Will, had quote unquote seemingly just disappeared, moved away without any kind of contact or anything, and she just can't get over him. Well, it turns out that he's been locked away with Mark at Weston Hills because they were two of the people that got hypnosiled, locked away.
But also spreaded the fear.
Yeah. Well, as they're in line to get their medicine, Will sees the news report and he bitches at the orderly. So Mark has a distraction, leaves bed, and he fucks with all the orderlies, and they trank him. And that was all a ruse just to steal the keys, and they break out and they weirdly show up to the high school. Like, that's what I thought was just fucking strange about this. Like, those two characters had, like, where the fuck was Will supposed to sleep at night? And Mark, does he just go home? He just goes home. There's no parents. There's no nothing. Like, it's been 4 years. Like, where do you go?
I know.
Like, I hate that, like, stuff like that was just never fucking addressed. I know it's, like, not supposed to be, you're not supposed to think about this shit, but that's just kind of stuff that I look at in general. I was like, why?
We try to avoid the stupid stuff and focus on the stuff like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, they see Lori, and Will's trying to explain to her, it's like, I saw you on the news and everything, and she just faints. 2 cops pull up in the hallways and chase them out the high school, basically.
Yeah, we also forgot how the stupid line delivery from Lori, Monica Keena, where she's in the police station being questioned, and she's like leaned over, she's like, what was the name? What was the name? Freddy! And then she has her little fucking
nightmare.
Yeah, which that was cool. Like, some of the nightmare sequences were really cool. I thought Freddy got robbed a lot in this one. With all the CG at the time, they could have made really awesome kills happen, and the one kill that he does actually get in the movie is really subpar to me, comparatively. But yeah, so Jason had also killed the guy that Kia was trying to set Lori up with. Remember whenever he's like, my best friend was just killed, Dad? So how about giving me some fucking space? You just watch your mouth, young man.
Yeah, that dude's dad looked almost like Alex Jones whenever I looked at him for the first time. Where you turning the frogs gay, son? My best frog just died, Dad.
So how about giving me a fucking lily pad?
But no, he wakes up from the little hallucination nightmare that he had. And
Oh yeah, with the shadow Freddy.
Yeah,
See, that was cool.
yeah,
Like they could have just gave it to him.
yeah. But he's like, my powers haven't returned fully yet.
We're gonna let Jason have some burn.
Yeah,
God damn, that scene when he fucking comes to, he's just like, there's some guy named Freddy. I'm gonna take him out myself. Yeah, okay.
and his fucking dad was sitting next to him with his fucking head cut off.
Yeah, it just pops off. That's what I thought was funny. It didn't just fall. It just pops off of his head.
And Jason goes to swing at him, and he blocks his machete with his dad's head. Like that's gonna do anything.
Dad, you'll protect me, right? Nope.
Here's a slice of some head cheese.
Oof. But yeah, we cut back to Will and Mark running away from the school after being chased away. And then they go to the library, and that's when Mark is like, look at all these. And you cracked me up because he didn't say the word redacted. He's just like, look at all these blacked out obituaries.
Yeah, I was like, the correct terminology is redacted. But yeah, he's like, my brother got killed. They said it was whatever. You don't see his thing in here, do you?
Yeah, they're like, look at this date. That's the day he committed suicide. Where's his obituary at?
And Will's just like, oh.
Yeah, like Will doesn't give a flying fuck about any of that shit. He's just trying to get to Lori. And it's like, bro, you don't have questions about why you got fucking taken away. Come on. So eventually there is this giant rave in a fucking cornfield. This may be one of the best settings in the film.
Right.
Now, there's some banter between, what was that guy's fucking name? Linderman?
Linderman, I think, yeah.
Yeah, fucking Linderman and Kia like always have these back and forths because she's like, oh, you're a big fucking nerd. And he tells her off in a really particularly funny moment.
Yeah, it says something about like how low your intelligence is by talking to me. It must be all the makeup on your face wearing your head down.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But she was speechless and he walked off. And it was just like, at that point, I think he started to have some kind of connection with her. And the same happened to her. Because like, no man has ever stood up to me like that before. Ooh.
Now I want that nerd dick.
Yeah. But
was it? Yeah, the Gib walks off. That's Catherine Isabel's character. You know, the Taco Tuesday chick.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she walks off like she's drunk and shit, and she starts seeing visions of her ex-boyfriend. No, well, dead boyfriend now.
Her taco boyfriend.
Her taco boyfriend, her crunchy taco boyfriend, and she's like, I want another shot at that double XL grande beef burrito. So she follows him through the cornfield when in reality she's just passed out drunk, which this light up Christmas tree Power Man 5000 looking motherfucker grossly tries to take advantage of her while she's passed out, which we'll get back to that bastard in a second. But she goes to this giant silo and it turns into the boiler room. So there's a Freddy nightmare that happens here. And it's very classic, you know, it's all washed in red and, you know, he's stalking her and shit. Well, he's finally about to just kill her because she hides in this locker. Well, when he opens the door, blood just sprays out of her chest in his face and he's just like, ah, what the fuck? He looks so just like, are you fucking kidding me when that happens?
But Jason literally impaled the ever-living shit out of both her and that creeper with a freaking rusted ass pipe about the same size as his ass. Freddy's on the other end is like, she was mine! She was mine!
I love how fucking Jason takes that bastard and just just through the air. That fucker just goes flying.
You see all the freaking glow sticks flying in different directions. There's like a fucking Mardi Gras parade. You just see shit flying everywhere.
Like, fucking like 3 hours later, you just hear.
Yeah. That's how strong Jason is. He just yeets people and they're like in the next town.
Yeah, that fucker just went into orbit and then came back.
So then we proceed to these two drunks, basically, like these idiots. And they're talking trash to Jason.
Oh, yeah.
And he sprays Jason with the fucking vodka or the Everclear.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this Everclear is kicking my ass. And then he just turns around. The line delivery here. Jethro! Like, looking at this motherfucker here.
Looking for a sheep to fuck?
Yeah, he's like, why don't you go find yourself a pig to fuck?
Yeah.
And then the way he kills the one guy next to him, how he just crunches his head in a 180 and just pokes him over. Beautiful.
But yeah, he throws the Everclear on him and he gets lit up on fire. And he fucking chases this dude through a fucking cornfield.
On fucking fire. God damn.
I mean, from the top of the cornfield, you literally just see a blaze trail.
He's a trailblazer. Jason's a fucking trailblazer.
Yeah. And this dude's trying to zigzag through the freaking cornfield, and you just see Jason going in a straight line.
Yeah. Bro, you zig when you should have zagged.
But yeah, he finally came out the cornfield, and Jason literally just yeeted that damn machete through his fucking chest, on fire, by the way.
You would think it would like instantly cauterize his wound. No, instead he just spits blood, falls the fuck over, and then the rest of the party goes into panic mode as an on fire Jason Voorhees just proceeds to massacre the shit out of anybody that's in his way.
Just slaughter.
And he kills this one dude against a beer keg, and then the beer winds up putting him out, like puts the fire out.
Mm-hmm. Watching this film, I mentioned that when he came out the cornfield on fire, it reminded me of Halloween Kills when Michael came out the house on fire. And it was just so fucking ominous watching this big hulking figure just be like, I'm coming for y'all's asses, and I'm on fire.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Those motherfuckers are forces of nature that just cannot be stopped.
No. But yeah, they all run, panic ensued.
This is where they escape to, this is where they go to Freeburg's little pot smoking haven. Because they're in the van and they're just like, oh my God, what was that? Was that Freddy? No, that wasn't Freddy. That was something else completely different. Man, that goalie was pissed about something. And Freeburg is literally the wannabe Jay from Jay and Silent Bob of this movie.
Yep.
I don't care how you fucking try to say it's not, it is. Because, I mean, even in the Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy documentary, Jason Mewes makes a very comedic cameo during the Freddy vs. Jason documentary portion of it. And he was talking about his time on the set. And he was like, wait, I wasn't in this fucking movie. And he gets up and walks away.
But yeah, they have a little powwow session and Stubbs comes in. He's like, I'm here to help y'all because I know something's wrong with this situation. And he explains about Jason and how he ended up being murdered as a kid. His mom was murdered later on, blah, blah, blah. You know, the origin story. We don't need to go into that.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was trying to convince his superior. He was like, I think we have a copycat of the old Voorhees killer on our hands.
Right. So they end up trying to come up with a plan to lure Freddy and Jason out at the same time or something, basically. Just try to get rid of them.
Well, that's the point when Kia and Will and everybody you start realizing that Laurie's having a nightmare. Because she's not directly talking to them, but they're acknowledging her like she is because she's away from the table. And she has that dream of Freddy where she pulls his fucking ear off. Because I want to say already, there's a couple of shots where her dad has tried to like drug her to sleep with the Hypnocil. You find out that he has been doing side work at the Weston Hills place. And he has a confrontation with Will. And you find out like her dad is one of those like very overprotecting motherfuckers, but in a very terrible way. Like he's like, it's bad because that's who she has the nightmare about on the couch is her dad.
Yeah. Because he tries to make out with her and shit. Also, side note, this was way before now. Let's talk about the scene where Laurie was out from passing out. Kia was in the waiting room of the nurse's office and she was reading a magazine of like surgical procedures for like nose jobs and boob jobs and alterations and shit. And she was asking the nurse, oh, how does the nose job work? Like, how do they go about all that? And the nurse is just like,
you're in high school. You shouldn't be worried about that right now.
First of all, why would they have a magazine like that in the high school?
Mm-hmm.
But
the whole got your nose thing. That shit's great.
But no, it was just that point was kind of like questioning. But yeah, he literally just came out the magazine. He's like, got your nose. Ah,
so fucking great. I wish that would have been an actual kill because he still wasn't strong enough then.
No. But yeah, fast forward until after.
Yeah, so they all devise this plan after she comes to from the nightmare. And she's just like, I took this off in my dream and it was Freddy's ear. So they decide we need to get Hypnocil. So they go to Weston Hills. And Jason kicks this door down and squishes the security guard under this giant metal door.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, Freeburg starts smoking a joint, and as he's high, a Freddy caterpillar crawls under the door and lays a bong out in front of him, and he's just like, oh, bro, wait a minute, and he's trying to fucking follow him and shit.
It's like Freddy in Wonderland.
It really is. So at some point, Freddy, as the caterpillar, possesses or inhabits Freeburg's body and makes him pour all of the Hypnocil down the drain. And Stubbs is killed by Jason whenever he misses a machete swing and hits like this control panel and starts getting electrocuted. Well, he grabs Stubbs and just slams him into the motherfucker and fries his ass.
Let's not forget the scene where they find all those comatose patients laying down And they find out that Lori's dad was the one signing off on all of the Hypnosil treatments, basically.
Yeah, because they've all overdosed from Hypnosil.
Right. But when Home Dude walked into that room, like he walked out of the room when he had his little caterpillar episode, and he saw all of the patients sitting straight up. And I was like, man, I would have freaked the fuck out at this point. I'm done.
Oh, same here.
But yeah, they all pointed to the cabinet where the medication was. They were pouring it all out. He was pouring it out. And they were running from Jason, the rest of the group. Well, he had a bunch of fucking tranquilizer that he found, and he loaded up like 2 massive syringes full. And he just sat there with them behind him because Freddy was luring Jason to him. And he turned to Laurie. He's like, I got him. So Jason came up to him and he just stabs with the tranquilizer and knocked his ass clean out, even though he killed Home Dude, literally sliced him in half, like from the waist.
And that was a really cool practical effect.
Yeah.
Well, so the plan is to load this motherfucker up, this big, hossing, heavy son of a bitch, into this van. The idea is to go to Crystal Lake with Jason while Laurie takes some of the tranquilizer and pulls Freddy out of his dream so that they can fight. Well, in the dream, Jason is getting his ass kicked in a very comedic sequence with Freddy just fucking with him. Jason like cuts his arms off and Freddy's just like, oh, makes the fucking jack off motion. Like he's like, oh, big fucking deal, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Pinball machines his ass all around this fucking boiler room until he's realizing he's like, why the fuck won't you die? And then Jason kind of throws him around a little bit. And then in a really cool shot, it goes from being completely washed in red to this greenish aqua blue to symbolize, okay, here it comes. There's a busted water pipe. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and again, I will explain this, but I think a lot of casual viewers of this movie will be like, why the fuck is Jason afraid of water? Because he's come out of it for fucking so many movies. And he's there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The fear is a subconscious one. So it's absolutely there, but he doesn't ever show it because it doesn't ever, absolutely pun intended, it doesn't ever come to surface.
Yeah. So at that point, that's when Jason reverts back to his child self before he died. And Freddy's just like, let's dig deeper.
I love that. He's like, you little shit.
Yeah. So he proceeds to go deeper into his brain. Well, when Laurie goes into the dream sequence, she's back at Crystal Lake when Jason is literally 11 years old.
Yeah, so she encounters, which is a really weird thing. She almost has this shared connection with all three of them have a shared connection. Because it's like a hybrid of Jason's nightmare and Freddy invading his nightmare, but Laurie has somehow joined in on that nightmare itself.
Right.
The fucking sequence where she comes up to the counselors and they're not paying attention to Jason being picked on by the other kids and thrown into the lake. And this one dude is fucking this chick and she's just like, are you going to help him? And they're just like, can't you see I'm kind of busy here? Oh, aren't you coming? And it's a very sex joke thing. But it turns into Freddy and it's a dead chick and he just turns and it's not my fault this bitch is dead on her feet. And he just fucking like waves her arm. Great shit. That's like classic Freddy Krueger. It was so funny. But yeah, they toss Jason into the lake and she's trying to save him, but it's Freddy in the water drowning Jason. He starts actually like spitting up water in the van.
Mm-hmm.
And well, how are we supposed to keep him alive? Give him mouth to mouth?
Yeah.
And then they all look at Kia.
Yeah, because Linderman has asthma. And she's like, I'm not doing it. And then Will turns around and is like, Kia, he has asthma.
Just so convincing.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking gross, though. I got to admit that.
Because, I mean, you see her pulling the mask off his mouth and you just see the fucked up teeth and the fucked up lips and shit like that. And she's trying so hard. And yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, I think is this where they wreck?
I think Jason comes to and wrecks the whole entire van. Yeah.
That's right. He wakes up, so he disappears out of the dream and they wreck. Because while they wreck, it just fucking launches Jason, like, I guess just all the way to Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
Because it looked pretty fucking funny, him going sideways like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the dream state, Freddy, in probably one of his coolest looking forms with that demon makeup, he is pissed at Laurie. Well, the entire time that she's in the dream state, where basically it's revealed that Freddy killed her mother, which Will always thought it was her dad that did it. And then he turns to her and he's stalking her in the house and he just looks at her. He's like, I've always had a thing for the whores that live in this house.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's about to kill her. Meanwhile, they're dragging her comatose body all around to Crystal Lake and Jason's kind of attacking them. and fire breaks out and her hand gets scorched. So when she realizes it in the dream, she grabs Krueger and then poof, we're ready for our fucking showdown.
And here comes Jason.
The look of oh shit on Freddy Krueger's face when he realizes, I think I fucked up.
Yeah, because not only is Jason there, he's surrounded by fire all around him.
And he has flipped the fuck out.
But yeah, he tries so hard to like stab him, hit him, all 9 yards, and Freddy is just yoinked all over the fucking place. He gets chucked into a corner of the room. Jason grabs him and shoves him through a window and drags him through the rest of the fucking window pane on the side of the building. Man, he was manhandling the fuck out of him. And then Freddy proceeds to try and nutshot him. And Freddy's just like, bruh, seriously?
What I think is hilarious is Jason just takes him. You ever see a basketball game where a dude tries to just make the shot from cross court?
Yeah, he shoots that long ass 3-pointer.
Well, he does the same with Freddy. He just like, oh, 3! Fucking throws him through a roof of another cabin like way across the way.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point during all of this shit, Kia makes some belittling dick jokes and a very homophobic remark towards him, while Freddy just like points behind her, and Jason hits a literal fucking home run with that machete.
Boy, she like hits that tree hard too.
Yeah, she did. I mean, flies right into that bitch too. Ugh. Because Linderman died while she had run up to that, point in the film, because he got thrown into, I don't know what it was, like a piece of a shelf.
Yeah, one of those shelf brackets that you put.
Yeah, so he just bleeds out on a tree.
See, what would have been funny is I was talking about this earlier. Whenever Jason yeeted Freddy, it'd be funny if he just threw him so hard in that direction he actually killed Linderman on the tree.
Like with the body?
Yeah, just plop.
So Freddy couldn't be mad at that point. He's like, well, I gotta kill.
Mm-hmm. That's one for me.
Yeah, exactly. We forgot to mention that before all this happens, Freddy actually does kill Mark at his house, which was a really cool nightmare sequence because Mark has visions of his brother, and it winds up being a dream, and Freddy murders him by setting him on fire and slashing his face. Very tamely, I might add.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the fight. I really enjoyed the WWF nature of this. It was really just them beating the shit out of each other. There's at one point those giant oxygen tanks just getting like released. Like he accidentally cuts off one of the tops of it, one of the spouts, and it just goes flying like a torpedo. And so he's firing all these at Jason. Well, he hits him a couple of times into this construction site. And then this fucking hilarious ass Predator reference where he's up on top of this scaffolding. Hey, asshole, up here! And fucking slices down all these truss rods, and they go through him, and he cuts the chain to this. It looks like a sifter, like a giant like dirt sifter, and it just swinging through and just knocking the piss out of him, like blood everywhere. This was a bloody final piece of film.
Yeah. And then the whole sequence with the cart full of dirt.
It wouldn't fucking go down.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I love it.
So he proceeds to sit there and try and hit the damn thing down while Jason is literally bending the rebar out and breaking it. And the sifter keeps hitting the ramp that Freddy's on, and it hits him hard enough to where he falls down, and there's a piece of wire hanging on the sifter to the point where he's caught by his foot on the wire.
He's so stupid too. He's oh no! He loses his hat. Yeah, he loses his fucking hat.
The source of my power,
right?
But yeah, Jason comes and just like fucking just beats his ass at that point.
Then the cart finally breaks loose and it slides down, and we both kind of cringed at this. Like it hits them really hard and it knocks them onto the boating dock. And as they're fighting on the dock, Laurie and Will are spraying it down with gasoline. And this is a part where Jason is like, he's whooping the shit out of like Freddy. And then he winds up getting his fingers cut off in a very comedic scene. The way he just raises his nubs up and he just looks, he's like, oh
shit.
Well, because he drops his machete, and then Freddy machete, he starts whooping his fucking ass with the claws and the machete. And before they get blown to hell, Jason winds up taking his nubby fist and like ramming it into Freddy's ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he rips his fucking razor glove arm off. And then Freddy just like buries the whole machete right into his heart. And then they get blown up because Laurie throws she throws a stick of fire onto the dock, and then she throws one on this giant propane tank.
Not to mention, she was very Olympic torch-like, because all you see is like them fighting and then her just slowly running with 2 torches.
Oh my God. You know what'd be funny? They put fucking chariots of fire right there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, at this point, Laurie's just like, I'm not leaving until Freddy is dead.
Yeah, that whole line delivery was really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking bad.
They finally think they did it, right?
Yeah, because that explosion was fucking large.
But you hear this ominous thumping noise from the dock, and you see a machete, and you're thinking, oh, it's Jason. No, it's still Freddy with his one arm, about to kill both of them. And out of nowhere, you see Jason shove his fucking other arm into his chest, and then takes his machete and just slices his fucking head off.
Well,
Laurie did that. I'm sorry.
He falls back into the lake, and then Laurie gives him the whole "Welcome to my night" or "Welcome to my world, bitch" line, and he's just like, "Oh, you fucking," and she cuts his head off.
Yeah, and he slowly just drops down into the water, bleeding everywhere. And you see Jason. She walks over to the end of the dock where he's at, and he slowly goes down, drops the machete above him, and so they go on their merry way and try and recover from all this. And the next sequence you see is this like surreal dream, I guess, where Jason is literally bringing another kill to his magical shack in the fog, basically. And he comes out of the water with Freddy's head on his nubbed hand.
Yeah, dude.
And you see Freddy look to the camera and wink. It's like, this ain't over. And honestly, note, before we go on to the next film, the actual band soundtrack to this film is fucking phenomenal. I have so many fucking memories from high school listening to this album over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like the movie is highly entertaining and the soundtrack was perfect. Because I mean, it's a good tie-in. You got to think the movie came out in 2003, so a lot of the metal bands on the soundtrack were immensely popular at the time.
El Nino, you had Mushroom Head, Killswitch Engage, Spine Shank, Chimera,
yep. Devil Driver.
I think Typo Negative was on there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a good collection of not only bands, but the songs themselves were really fucking good too. Like towards the end of the film, like the credits are rolling and Darkness Falls comes on. I'm like freaking screaming in the room. Yeah! But anyway, that's Freddy versus Jason.
So we're going to be right back after this break. What kind of candy did you get for trick-or-treating?
Well, there's no joy in my almonds.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I got a lot of snickering.
Damn.
Seems like nobody's going to lay a finger on my Butterfinger this Halloween season.
Go from a bite-sized candy bar to a king-size candy bar and join 2 million men worldwide by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code SUPER.
Manscaped is here to save the day and make sure you're smelling fresh with their new refined body wash. Fellas, the ladies love their signature scent, and it will help scare away those vampires.
Unlock your confidence with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find the holy grail of men's grooming items. They've made it easy for you to upgrade your grooming routine.
It's a full moon out, and the werewolf in your pants is howling. It's time to tackle that problem with the Lawnmower 4.0. Their finely tuned pube products feature a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is easily the greatest ball trimmer on the planet. Did we mention this is waterproof? The trimmer is an excellent shower essential.
The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker, a total game changer to your men's hygiene arsenal.
The Weed Whacker is a nose and ear hair trimmer that provides proprietary skin-safe technology that helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those holes.
Just like those jack-o'-lantern holes. Seal the deal with Manscaped's liquid formulation. Their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner will make sure your pumpkins stay fresh. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you.
Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level.
If you're looking like Wolverine and haven't cut your nails recently, be sure to look into the Shears 2.0 Nail Kit.
They have a bunch of other life-changing products on their website, so be sure to check it out and get 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com.
Say trick or treat to your beautiful new Halloweenie with Manscaped.
Weenie.
And we're back.
Yes, let's move on to Alien vs. Predator. This one came out in 2004, literally like a year later, and it was written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who most notably did most of the Resident Evil franchise.
Which it shows on this one.
Yeah.
But again, not much going to go on with the premise, but Wyland Corporation goes around the world hiring all these basically expertise people on specific things.
Like a doctor, archaeologist, drillers, mercs.
There's a, travel navigator, stuff like that.
Yeah, the guide Alexa.
Yeah.
I mean, really the people that you focus the most on here are Charles Whalen, who is played by Lance Hendrickson. And I think it's funny because his name in this movie is Charles Bishop Whalen. So it's a reference to his Bishop character from the original.
Mm-hmm.
Alexa and Sebastian.
Right. So yeah, basically they all get gathered together because there's a heat signature in Antarctica that was suddenly sprouted. And Wyland's like, we need to find out what this is. Because he pulls out this map, like a 3D image of it, and it looks like an Aztec temple, basically, or pyramid. And he's like, I need the best of the best to help navigate this temple. And they're all asking, like, well, how far down is it? And it's like, it's 2,000 feet down. And we're like, holy shit.
Right. Dude, oh my God, we forgot to talk about how the movie opens in 1904 and dollar store Frank Gallagher is just walking around in Antarctica.
Yeah, it's like he was running around like from the Thing movie, and he just goes into this cabin and comes across a predator. And then in the predator's vision, he goes to kill home dude, and an alien xenomorph just pops out of nowhere, and then it just goes black.
Yeah, because you can't see it. It's a John Cena morph.
Right. But then, yeah, we skip ahead
100 years later.
100 years later.
And yeah, we're at this fucking entire, let's do this Antarctic expedition for this fucking 2,000 feet below the Earth's surface pyramid shit.
Yeah, and Alexa's like, we need 4 weeks to train these people. And Wayland's like, I don't have that time. I need this pyramid explored to make history. So on the flip side of it, the Predator ship notices the same signal as being, tampered with, basically. So they shoot from space a fucking beam straight down to the actual pyramid. And this thing looks like a fucking fun tube, like a water slide.
Yeah, because like when they're going down it or whatever, Bishop Whalen has this exchange with Alexa about, her dad died the same way. He doesn't even be going down there. And he's like, I need this and blah, blah, blah. Well, he almost dies right here.
Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Alexa, like literally Lara Crofting his like hood on his parka.
Alexa, play Tomb Raider.
No.
Yeah, so they get down and find this fucking giant pyramid, and they figure out that it is basically this prehistoric civilization, and there were sacrificial chambers that had human remains in them. And then they're like, oh, well, all these rib cages are fucked up. They must have had their hearts ripped out. And then one of the people notes, he's like, no, it looks like something came out of them.
Which comes into play later.
Yeah. Because while all this is happening, you discover that there is this cryogenically frozen, or I would say cryogenically frozen. It looks like just frozen from the cold, really, a queen alien who is just chained to this contraption, who you find out the literal only purpose was to breed.
So when she came to, that's all she was doing was pumping out eggs.
Yeah, because the three predators, which actually have names, by the way, Scar, Celtic, and Chopper.
That's some pretty cool ones.
Yeah, so they get there. And you kind of find out that these predators are not made, quote unquote, made people yet. Like they don't even have their lasers or any of that shit. Yeah,
because the concept of basically their right to manhood, or rite of passage, I should say, the group themselves discover a tomb that had the mounted laser cannons on the shoulders. There was 3 of them. And they were meant for the predators that actually earned the right to be the hunters, basically. Well, the excavation team pulls all 3 of them out, and that pisses them off even more.
Yeah, because that's the thing that activates the entire, like, trapping chambers, because they figure out through, like, all the hieroglyphs and shit that every 10 minutes this chamber switches like traps people and shit, and it's that they would come to Earth every 100 years or some shit.
It's like an Aztec Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
It just constantly shifts and goes different directions.
Yeah. Because basically the story is that the reason all this exists is because the predators were on Earth and they taught the humans how to build. But in return, the humans worshiped them as gods and would have to offer up sacrifices like every 100 years, because what would happen is they use the aliens as their hunting. But to have the hunting, they need the humans to basically birth the Xenomorphs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this all ties together. It's fucking weird.
And the Xenomorphs, had an uprising. They try to kill the predators, and they pretty much entrap the queen so that she didn't make any more. And now we're in the present.
Yeah. So pretty much like as this is all happening, you have a Xenomorph or a few Xenomorphs that are just murdering the fuck out of people on the surface as this team is underground.
Was the Xenomorphs or the predators did that?
Both.
Because I remember the one predator, he killed most of the team by himself, because you see like all the hanging corpses like in a meat market.
Yeah, because there was a Xenomorph that kills Chopper and Celtic. Like the Xenomorph kills 2 fucking predators.
By himself.
Yeah, and it's just like, holy shit.
Which apparently these are like the newbies, I guess you can call them.
Yeah. Because there's several of the people that are in there with our 3 main people get face hugged, and yeah, chest bursted. You know the routine. If you've seen these movies, you know the fucking routine.
But the chamber itself with the ritual, each body that was laid out had an egg pop up from behind their heads, and then they all were active. So they took over whatever body was nearby, and yeah, face hugged. With love.
Oh, a lot.
But yeah, the rest of the team is being chased by both Xenomorphs and Predators. They get killed off up to a certain point. There's one Xenomorph that had the net, which, by the way, I'm going to mention that part in a second. He had the net shot on his head, like on his body, and it was piercing through his head. And you see the outline of like the green on it. He broke through the net and, killed the 2 Predators and everything. Well, I'm trying to remember who it was that got killed with the net. I think it was Waylon's assistant.
Yeah, the assistant that went to Sebastian and his digging team and basically Jurassic Parked his ass onto this mission. That was pretty fucking funny.
So the Predator shoots a net at him, and the mechanism is a tri-bolted net, and it would sit there and wind up the net to the point where it would tighten so much that it would literally just chop him into cubes. And it was instant freaking Resident Evil when the laser grid hit, because it just chopped home dude into cubes.
Well, Paul Anderson did this, so...
Yeah. Reminiscent. Same thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty neat. Like, all the contraptions and stuff, like, I think the only gripe I had in this film outside of the fact it was kind of okay, the set design was really awesome looking. It had great ambiance, great lighting and everything like that, great structure look. The Xenomorph symbol itself from the ancient times looked really authentic to what that civilization would consider how it looked. But the facehugger looked like somebody took a plaster mold of an actual facehugger and stuck it in stone. It looked too real. That's literally the only complaint I had about the set design. Like, everything else was cool.
Yeah, I think my only thing with that is they had the technology. Like, in story, the Predators had, or the Hunters had the technology from space at the time. So I guess it's laser etched or whatever the fuck.
All right.
But anyway, there's only one Hunter left. And at this point, Waylon has one of the laser cannons, as does Alexa. So the Predator winds up killing a couple of the Xenomorphs, and he winds up kind of walking after all 3 of them. Well, he sees Waylon and he picks him up, and he looks through and sees his lungs, and it's obvious the dude is going to die. So the Predator doesn't really consider this a worthy kill, because it's like, this is weak shit. This is weak sauce.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to fucking spare him. But this bastard, it's like, don't you turn your back on me. And he fucking tries to set him on fire. Well, the Predator turns around and was like, well, fuck you then. And just kills his ass, which deservedly so.
But we forgot to mention that the Predators have a ritual. When they kill their prey, they put this mark on their helmet and on their forehead. And he takes, the main one that lives, he takes the finger off of one of the xenomorphs he kills that has the acid blood on it, and he does the etching of, it's like a T mark, basically.
Yeah, that would be Scar. Go figure. The one that lives that's doing it is called Scar.
Right.
So Jeremy Irons is marking himself.
Mm-hmm. So we continue on. Alexa and Sebastian are trying to run, and there's a point where they jump over this bridge that had a hole in it, and Sebastian catches Alexa before she falls down. Well, a xenomorph comes and takes Sebastian, just eats his ass into this room.
Yeah. Oh my God, we forgot, like, right before that happens, how me and you were cringing at them just fucking crawling through that crevice.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit, dude.
So it was very Indiana Jones, like the trap mechanisms where they're running through the temple and trying to avoid all the, walls collapsing in and everything like that. No, the 10-minute mark hit at one point, and the room itself was starting to go up. Like the floor was going upwards. They ran out of that one and into another hallway, and I kid you not, it was like 2 feet gap towards the end of that fucking part. And I was just like, man, I would have just stayed in that other room and just died. I ain't getting smushed in that shit.
Yeah, dude, he looked like he was about to get his head crushed.
Some side of him, yeah.
Well, I mean, he got a fate worse than that. Would you rather be crushed by that shit or like taken away by a xenomorph?
Taken away by a xenomorph.
Oof.
Yeah, I couldn't, because one, that instant notification, like, okay, I'm about to get smashed and it's just instant death. I'm like, that scares the shit out of me for some reason. But me being an alien freak, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that to happen to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at one point, Alexa finds this room full of eggs and all kinds of shit because Sebastian is slimed up or whatever, which we forgot to mention the other guy, the doctor, because like a few of the people that get killed in the traps or whatever by a few of the xenomorphs, one of them is still alive and he's in the room full of the xenomorph eggs.
Right.
And he finds a gun and he winds up shooting one of the facehuggers. And then they all start to rise out of their eggs and we're just like, are you fucking serious? And he just starts firing at all of them. And then he dies, I guess, from a facehugger. And I'm just sitting there like, why didn't you just off yourself, dude? You have no chance of escape. There's nobody that's going to find you. I would have just ended it right fucking there.
Yeah, at that point, you're not getting out.
Mm-mm.
But we get to a very interesting part of this movie, the story-wise. So Alexa comes across a xenomorph and a predator at the same time. And ironically, she helps kill the xenomorph, or she kills it herself, because the xenomorph knocks the predator out long enough to where she can grab the spear and she pretty much gouges him in the chest. And she plops it to the side and the predator starts to walk away and she's like, hey, no, you can't leave me behind. So he looks at her and he has this thought of like, she's useful. He proceeds to show her, okay, I'm going to do all this, procedure to help you by creating this shield, this spear, and everything like that. So he takes the finger off the xenomorph and puts it over its actual main part of the head and shows that, the acid won't do anything to it. But you put it on the floor, it's going to eat it. So he fashions a spear with the xenomorph tail tip and then uses the head as a arm shield. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this might be before or after that. I'm not sure. But I think she gets the marking too.
He marks her later.
Yeah.
Because all he does is he arms her right now and they run off together to start fighting and shit.
Right.
Well, that's when the queen alien, holy shit. She kills her friend Sebastian first though, because they happen upon that whole chamber and the predator basically alerts her that he's got one inside of him and she takes the gun and puts him out of his misery as the chest burster comes out and the predator crushes it in its hands. Well, they eventually encounter the queen and a few of the other xenomorphs, but he first detonates the bomb. Remember, he takes his bomb gauntlet off and blows that whole fucking thing up because they escape on that big chute, which I still think that shit is fucking funny. They just rocket launch, somehow living. They just, at high speeds, rocket launch out of this fucking tube that they excavated and went into from that laser beam as they're being chased, and that whole thing is getting blown up. All the xenomorphs that were in there just fucking die, but the queen alien is out there, and that thing is fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, that thing is massive.
Yeah, twice as tall as a predator.
Oh, it's even bigger. It's like you said, it's T-Rex sized.
But yeah, the two of them literally challenge and take on this Xenomorph queen by themselves. And it gets to a point where the Predator gets knocked away and it chases Alexa to this big, like,
It's like a water tank.
water well tank, some kind of mechanism. And she's hiding inside the woodwork and she's beating the shit out of all the wood to get to Alexa. And this thing is toppling over the cliff, basically. So the Predator jumps out of nowhere and just shoves the fucking spear in its face. And it's freaking the fuck out at this point. Well, Alexa sees an option to where she's going to wrap the chain that was stuck to the Xenomorph's tail around this valve, basically, that was on the water well. And the Predator sees what she's doing. So he holds her still long enough to where she can wrap it. Well, they finally get the Xenomorph falling down the cliff. And it literally does a Steve Rogers for 70 years. Just goes into a deep dive. And yeah, so
He has scarred her by this point.
yeah, given the T on her face.
Yeah, because we forgot to mention at one point when he scars himself, as he has his helmet off, he gets hit with a face hugger. So as the cliffening happens to the queen had stabbed him with her tail.
Right.
And just yeets it away. So Scar dies in front of her, and then a lot of these elder predators, hunters, whatever you want to call them, appear with their giant ship out of thin air.
Like, this thing is massive.
Yeah. And they pretty much recognize her, because of the symbol. They recognize her as a warrior, and the elder leaves her with one of their spear weapons as a gift. But we were just sitting there like, oh, they just leave her ass. They just leave her behind. It's like, oh, how the fuck is she going to get home?
She's on this random island in the middle of the Antarctica. Like, how are you going to get out of that?
It looks like most of their shit has been destroyed. Hopefully, she looked like she was walking to a vehicle. Hopefully there's some kind of like communication device in there, because she's stuck like Chuck.
And that was like one of the rules she mentioned in the beginning of the expedition, is like, always communicate with each other. I don't know about that right now.
Yeah. So the predators, they fly away, and they put the body, because they take Scar with them, because they put it on a plinth where this window of the ship is that they keep viewing out of. Well, then you get a Predalien chest burster that pops out of Scar's chest, and it looks creepy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this basically just directly leads into Aliens versus Predator Requiem, and that's Alien versus Predator. I know it feels like we kind of jump skipped and hopped through both of these movies, but again, are you really watching these movies for story, or are you watching because you want to see the title characters beat the holy shit out of each other?
Yeah, I just want to see them bite the dust, basically.
Now, granted, both movies had good references to the past pieces of these franchises, and as much as I love Freddy Krueger, this was Robert Englund's swan song as Krueger on film, mind you. I gotta say, I have to give this one to Alien vs. Predator, for a few reasons. One, the practical effects were really cool to see how they used some CG, but to see that queen alien be, in certain shots, a practical built thing was fucking just amazing. I liked the action sequences in AVP. I liked the references to the original franchises, the mythology that they, put in there was really good. And it felt like Freddy vs. Jason is they left some things out. The characters were fucking stupid. I'm not going to lie. The characters in that movie were fucking dumb. How I actually didn't mind the characters in AVP was kind of surprising.
They were slightly better, but not by much. The only good one out of that group was Sebastian and Alexa.
Yeah.
But mainly Alexa, because between her and Lori, hands down, Alexa's better.
Absolutely.
Especially when she gets the honor of fighting alongside a predator, which you don't ever see that.
Exactly. And then to, go back to Freddy versus Jason, really, Freddy Krueger is going to meet his definitive final end on screen to Lori as that, that is your final girl.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out a way to somehow pull Nancy Thompson back in. Obviously that would have been a long shot, but the fact that they still haven't gone and maybe even retconned some of that shit and done a direct Nightmare sequel, because Robert Englund has pitched that himself, how they're doing with, Michael Myers right now.
Right.
I would pay money to see that shit. That would be fucking cool. But as of right now, your final girl is fucking Lori taking his head off. And she is without a doubt the worst final girl in the entire fucking Elm Street franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's harsh, but god damn. Alien versus Predator wins by not a long shot, but a majority of that one.
A good majority.
Yeah.
I would say 60 or 70%.
Yep. Thank you for hanging with us for the entirety of October for Spooky Media Bros Month. Won't you please join us in November as we go full-blown Nick Cage?
You've heard of No Shave November, and you've also heard of No Nut November. Now, we have Nick Cage November.
Coming right your way. What do we have for you up first? Motherfucking Wicker Man.
How did it burn?
How did they get burned?
How did it get burned?
How did they get burned?
How did it get burned?
Not the bees.
No.
So yeah, we're looking forward to that one. Please join us for that shit. So keep checking back and visit supermediabrospodcast.com to listen to past, present, and future episodes. Check out all the other shows on the OddPods Media Network. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Buy some merchandise. Let us arm you as the hunter armed Alexa. You will stand there and we will etch our logo into your cheek and slip the Raglan shirt on your body. I don't know. That's definitely all I have for this week.
Same here.
Once again, thank you so very much for hanging with us. We really appreciate it. This was episode 196, Cult Cinema Showdown 85, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Alien vs. Predator. Until next time, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okame.
Shades on.
I have asthma.